I'm going to talk with a woman about a wig. I'm going to talk with a man about a horse. Going to a woman in Pittsfield who I've been told is very good at designing wigs for women. I guess I'll be needing a wig in a week. Wig. Used to be scarier to say than cancer. For me, part of my healing process is going to have to involve other people loving me and taking that love in. And in my relationship with Matthew, part of the struggle has been that I haven't really been feeling that love for years. And I'm sure that it's not one-sided. It's two-way thing, but last night I knew that I had to make the decision that if he was not willing to be there for me, I couldn't continue with him. And I didn't know what that would look like in terms of chemotherapy and the children and going on with my life, but I also knew that my sisters had told me that they would always be there for me. So I knew that I ultimately would not have to live by myself. This is it.
I can't believe you're going to get that instead of that one over there.
Instead of which one that I didn't try on?
This one, only in red. I just really like this one.
Oh, I already tried that on, right?
Oh, yeah. This was the one I really thought was you.
I know, but see, the thing
You don't want to be you, I know.
The thing is that I may as well be playful about it. And who knows, maybe I'll come back. You know, for some conservative things, I might need that, you know, to go to temple or something like that.
I mean, you're going to walk in with this one. They're going to go, oh my gosh.
Sheila, your hair grew. And my goodness, where'd
And
you
a
get
perm
that
and a
perm?
frosting.
And you might get more business than you ever...
this one in red anyways.
It's possible that chemotherapy would shrink the tumor in my breast so that I would not have to have a mastectomy. But Dr. Susan Love told someone I talked with who has had inflammatory breast cancer that statistics are now showing that people are living after 10 years of having gone, not 10 years of going through, but having had gone through in the beginning chemotherapy, mastectomy, and then radiation. And I know that it would be difficult to have a mastectomy, physically difficult. But on the other hand, I've always viewed my breasts as mammary glands. And that may be because my mother nursed all 7 of us. I've just never had a fixation about them. I've never, wanted, I guess, to think of them as anything other than mammary glands. And they've served that purpose, and they've served it well. You come out. I can hold them up here. Hi,
Girls?
Sophie.
Here's your mom. Check it out. Come on, let's see.
Hi, Sophie.
Come on, let's see.
Hi, Shawnee.
Shawnee, what do you think, kid? Who does she look like?
Dad, I saw that squirrel.
Yeah, a lot of squirrels around to look at. Want to look at your mom, too?
I know you did.
Yeah, I think you
Want to
did.
touch it?
I
No.
think you did.
Sophie touch it?
Not yet.
No, I'm not gonna touch it.
Oh, come on.
No, because Sophie.
Yeah, okay.
Sophie.
Sophie didn't touch it either? Sophie, you want to touch
Mom's
it?
hair.
Your bunny wants to touch it, huh?
Yeah. Does your bruise feel a little bit better on your face?
Should the bunny touch it? Hey, the bunny likes it.
Real
Is
hair.
it real hair?
Yeah.
I think so. It's not mine. Is it yours? Mommy has curly hair. Can you believe it?
What do you think?
Finally, Mommy has longer hair than Dad. Finally.
What do you think?
Pretty good. I didn't recognize you.
I've had one chemotherapy treatment. My hair hasn't fallen out yet, although I'm feeling a few hairs every day. I'm sure it will fall out soon, and I do feel prepared for that. And what's the other thing? Oh, that I will lose weight. It does go after bad cells, but also good cells.
Mom.
And it feels like a journey. It feels like I'm on this incredible journey in some.
Mom.
Mm-hmm.
Can you put my ponytail like on
Just
it?
a second. Sophie, did you get on her scooter? Come on, sweetheart. Do you want to help her with the scooter?
Mom, can you put this
Yes.
on my ponytail?
Okay. It's been an incredible process, but it's also difficult because it's
Sophie, I'll help you with that.
a struggle to balance what I need to do and what my family needs, and especially my children. I don't want them to grow up too quickly, but I'm not hiding from them any of the things that are going on. I don't know about prognosis or staging. I don't know if the surgeon will even know that until after I have an operation. But I did tell my children that I planned on getting well, and I do plan on getting well.
The rosy pocket full of roses, ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
Why don't you tell me about the things you might have not done in your life or delayed in your life that you want to do?
Oh. Well, I thought for sure I was going to be a psychologist. No doubt in my mind. But instead, I took a sailing trip instead of finishing at least my bachelor's degree. Something that I don't regret having done. But the things that I'd like to do, I'd like to dance. I'd like to spend time writing. I'd like to do something as simple as reupholster a chair. I'd really like to do that. I love fabric. I'd like to just do cartwheels. It's hard to picture doing cartwheels. My chest is hurting a little bit. I think that things are shifting around. But my sense is that a lot of my background or things that happened when I was a child probably contributed to having the cancer. And yet it's those same things that help me look at how I can heal too. Well, what happened was, as the oldest, I was put in the position of calling the police a lot. My mother married someone when I was 11 years old who turned out to be a very, very violent man and tried killing her a number of times. And I remember missing my father, but being too afraid to say anything about how much I loved my father and how much I missed him. And then I started seeing blood on windowsills, and I would notice that my mother would hide the knives. And all of a sudden, the entire knife drawer would disappear, or all of the contents would disappear. And I tried talking with her about it, and she couldn't tell me. She wouldn't tell me. And then we never talked about how scared she was. She would always tell me, call the police, and I would be the one who would call the police, and the police would get there, and he would have the religious music on. He'd put on records of people who sang religious songs. And it was terrible. When we weren't calling the police, when I wasn't calling the police, we were leaving and going to motels, and I couldn't understand it because before the evening would be out, my mother would have called him after taking great lengths to find a place where she could hide the car and where the car wouldn't be seen. And finally, when I was a junior in high school, I realized that I didn't have to protect my mother, that I could go live with my father. It wasn't really a childhood. I was responsible for all of my younger siblings and what they did. We were given an enormous amount of chores that had to be done, and never really had good leisure time. We were treated like servants. I feel very relaxed. The communion, there's something about the Adriamycin which feels very healing, and it feels like it's going right to my breast. And I know it takes a while to go through my system, but it just feels, I just feel like Christ, there's a Christ figure having hands out and saying, this is my blood. And I feel like it's just coming right into me, and that I'm receiving. Yeah, it does feel healing.
When was the last time you took communion in a church?
I took communion on Easter Sunday at the church on the hill in Lenox. It makes me thirsty to think of it, so I'm going to have some water.
This past Easter Sunday?
Yes, I did. With Lila, and Shawnee actually wanted some, and I told her she wasn't old enough, but she could have had some. So I can just have a pinch?
That's all you're getting. A whiff. Barely a whiff. And it's very oily, so you'll see it coming very, very slowly through.
And that's the Ativan.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part of me that's kind of wistful, because and yet curious. I wonder, can I have a crush on someone, and can that person love me back, or is that person going to have a crush and love me back? Is that person going to have reservations because I might be without a breast, and I'm certainly going to be without hair for a while, not to mention the fact that I'm married? Or can that person, as in this case, and he doesn't even know me that well, can he just love me without reservations? I can talk about the anger. I hate it. I just hate it. I can't stand it. I can't stand having cancer. I hate it. I hate having cancer. Even if I've been chosen to walk this path, it's a lonely path. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Nobody can understand unless she or he has been through it, what it's like. This chemotherapy is for the birds. Ugh, I can't stand it. This is not how our bodies should be. My body's been fighting it. And I just want to be able to take it in as I felt that I was taking it in when it was coming into my vein. Ugh. And then I got a call from the doctor's office that something happened with the blood work. It had hemolyzed, and they were concerned because of a cardiac problem. And I think, now I have to think about that. That was my concern in the first place with this Adriamycin. Ugh, I hate it! Ugh, I just want this cancer out. I want it out, and I want it out now. And I can't stand waking up every morning and feeling that it's still there. I want it out! I hate it! Ugh. And then when people continue to call me, people who haven't talked with me before, you know, they hear the word surgery. Ugh, surgery? And I said, yes, and it's possible that I could be looking at a double mastectomy down the road. Oh, no! And especially men get freaked out, and it's because of their own hang-ups about breasts. They don't say, well, if that's what it's going to take to save your life, then Sheila, you know you need that. But it's, oh no, oh God forbid, that nurturing, whatever they look at, sensuous breasts, it's just so wacky. People need to be informed. I want to get back to enjoying being a mom. I want my kids to see me healthy, not lying down, being out of it, and not joining in with dinner. I want to have energy. I want to play with them. I'm 41 and I don't deserve this. I just wish I could be a little girl again. I don't know why. I feel ripped off in some ways. Not victimized necessarily, but I wish that I could have enjoyed thus far every moment of my life. And there are some things that I would have done differently.
Name 3.
Well, I don't like to have unanswered questions. And there are things that I wonder. I wonder if Matthew and I had had therapy years ago, if I would have had cancer. And if I had had cancer, or if when I was becoming suspicious about my breasts, would I have done something about it then? Because of my fears of Matthew being afraid, maybe if we'd been in therapy, we would have had a closer, more intimate relationship like it was in the beginning. And I could have said something to him like, well, I'm concerned, and he would have said, okay, then let's go to the doctor. And in fact, when I told him I was concerned, he kind of freaked out. I definitely would have finished school. And I would have been doing something. I think that I would have been teaching. Maybe I would have been that psychologist that I wanted to be. I think there could have been different choices made, that there were opportunities that were available to me that I just didn't follow. You know that we're going to cut Mommy's hair, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to use the beautiful panda hair, the panda towel to wrap around. I'm cutting my hair.
And then
You're getting more
Starting to look like a chicken. It actually feels much better than having the hair falling out.
Yeah, no, I can understand that.
Did you call Alan?
Yeah.
Is he coming?
Yeah.
With his razor?
Yeah.
We've used all the available razors on the property. And then some. I look like a moon child. Okay, that's enough. Oh my God. How startling.
isn't it so pretty, Mom?
Let's see.
We talked about death and dying. And I'm not afraid of dying, but I do think that a part of me has died over the years. A part of me spiritually has died, and in some way there's a real awakening process going on. But at the same time, a part of me that was very loving in my relationship, I feel is no longer here. And I don't know if I can get that back. I don't know if our relationship will have that back. I hope so. I think that Matthew loves me very much. But I think there might be some resentment on my part for yearning for us to work on it, and then it just didn't happen. After hours of talking about it and wanting it to happen, after hours of writing letters to Matthew. And I think that even though I'm not afraid of dying, I want something to be complete between us, and it just feels like it's not complete. It feels that, for me, I just haven't been able to be there for Matthew since I've been going through this, and I think he's starting to be there for me. I saw 2 doctors and a physical therapist today. And I have good news all the way around. The tumor in my breast is shrinking. My lymph nodes are barely palpable underneath my left arm. And I knew that I was facing or would be facing surgery of some sort. And when the oncologist today told me that I would be looking at a mastectomy in 5 to 6 weeks, I said, 5 to 6 weeks? And I said, well, I'm prepared for that. And he said to talk about it with Matthew, where I would be having the surgery, whether it be here in the Berkshires or in Boston. And I felt strong, but after I got in the car and drove away, I just started sobbing. And there's something very, very, very sad about losing my breast. And I want to think that very little of it is tied into my sexuality. I don't know how much that is, but the first thing that came to mind was that I've just been nursing and pregnant and nursing, and have, saw my mother nurse all of my sisters. And it just feels like this nurturing part of me is being cut away. And I'll still be a nurturer, but I just started missing my breast. It was really hard. And I thought about what I would tell the children, and I'm not sure. Sophie wants to touch my breasts every day. And Shawnee looks at my breasts, and what do you tell young children? What do you tell them? How do you tell them so that they're not scared? Their grandmother and their mother will both be missing a left breast. I have 2 left over. Well, okay. There's a lot going on. It seems that my mother has cancer on her spine, or in her spinal fluid. I'm not sure. I think my sisters are wanting to protect me because of my situation. I'm feeling tired. It's 10 days post-chemo. And on the weekend I thought that it would be a good idea to watch this film, Alice. It had been recommended to me. And I like Woody Allen's films, but I'd never seen this movie. I saw it and I just loved it. And I thought before I went to bed that it would be a great idea to somehow get in touch with Woody Allen and ask him if he could do a comedy about a woman with cancer. That I had remembered watching dramas and, sad films about women who'd had cancer, but nothing that was really funny and entertaining. And I don't know, maybe it's because it ultimately doesn't look like that. Maybe it isn't funny and entertaining. You're flirting with death along the way. Anyway, what happened after this movie was that I thought about a relationship I'd been involved with, a person I'd been involved with in a relationship many years ago. In fact, I lived with him 15 years ago. And I hadn't seen him for maybe 14 years. He called me the morning after the film. He had heard about my situation. He didn't mention it to me until I mentioned it, and he said that he was waiting for me to say something. And I felt like I knew we hadn't had closure in our relationship, but I felt like we just picked up and could just continue. And I don't know what this means in my life right now. It's rather peculiar. I know that my husband has resented me for a number of years because of the relationship I have had with his mother, or the relationship, I guess, that I've wanted him to have. I've wanted him to separate from her. But what happened with this person the person who called me, was that we could be playful with each other. I could have my sense of humor that I had those many years ago. And he told me he could see the smile on my face. And it's just so different. Maybe the purpose of him getting in touch with me is to remind me of who I really am. And then he called again tonight. And it was just so easy. I wasn't dragged down. I was just really nice and light, and could remember all these great times that we had. And here I am, a woman with cancer, thinking about having an affair. It's rather shocking to admit, but I feel that I have nothing to lose by admitting that. Yeah, it's like a German Shepherd, but the ears are kind of flopped down. A beautiful golden and black dog that's guarding me. Lying down with its tongue hanging out, looking around, but guarding me. It's back to the place where Matthew and I first moved in with him, called Blue Hill. The dog seems to be looking over at the mountains. Ask the dog what?
Ask the dog what needs to happen between you and Matthew and the dog.
We need to go back there.
To that place.
To renew our vows. Physically, we need to go back there.
You feel okay?
It's very hard. I have to see if the tree has been damaged. The chestnut tree that's out front. And if it hasn't been damaged, I have to renew our vows. We have to renew them.
And if it has been damaged?
And our hearts have been damaged. It feels like they have been anyway, but for some reason, we're to go back to that place.
Tell the dog it feels like your hearts have been damaged anyways.
The dog's lying under the tree looking very sad. We were to have gotten married. We talked about getting married under that tree, and then we didn't. I need Matthew to go there with me. And it's hard to even tell him or to ask him to go there with me. The dog's grabbing onto Matthew's pant leg. Now he's grabbing onto his ankle. But I have to hold my hand out to him for him to come. And he does. I just can't do it all on my own.
Tell the dog. Notice the response.
Dog's wanting me to look over to the Catskills again. What message there is over there, I don't know.
Ask the dog what the message is.
And to follow a bird. I don't know what that means.
Tell the dog you don't know what that means.
I think that I'm just supposed to feel what it's like being free again before I committed myself to a marriage.
What are you free of? What drops away?
My physical body. I don't know why.
What's revealed as that drops away? What's revealed as that drops away?
Just that I'm part of his bird. With wings. The bird has taken off into the sunset. I feel like there's an angel that's very close to me right now. Very, very close. I went to a mother's group, mother of family, mothers and children, mothers and young ones group last week. And the woman who hosted it is the youngest of 4 children, and she told me that, and I knew before, she told me before that her mother had died when she was 3 years old. And I knew that she told me for a reason. She told me in a group setting. And when she first told me, she was talking about not having had sisters. And she has sons. And she said everyone wanted to mother her, that she was not without mothering, that women who were mothers of friends of hers were always so loving toward her and always remembered her on her birthday and on holidays. And she said they still do. And when I left, I told her, I said, Charlotte, I was really touched by that, because for the first time, I was able to look at the possibility of my not being here and realize that there were people who were going to love Shawnee and Sophie, and that they would be taken care of. And that their mommy might not sometime be around, but that other people would be. And that was a hard one to face. Maybe that's why it's so easy for me to want to escape into this fantasy world of having an affair too. I don't have to think about the hard part.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good morning, Faulkner Breast Center. May I help you?
But now what we've done is we've done what we did with you, is chemotherapy first, and so that it's pretty much cleared up. And then when we find we do mastectomies, it doesn't have quite the same recurrence rate. And I think that if we don't have a real diagnosis of inflammatory on you, I don't think we can call it inflammatory. Because things that yours was a neglected cancer. Whether it was inflammatory or not is a different story. It was neglected for a long time and you could feel it very easily, but whether it actually invaded what we, it's the dermal lymphatics, the skin actually has to be invaded, and that is different than a neglected cancer, where the cancer is clearly large and, hard and, has spread, but not necessarily through the skin. Sheila, there is no guarantee.
I know.
There is no guarantee. We do this only to improve your chances. There's absolutely no guarantee. All we can do is we look at big ballpark statistics, but that's not true for you, or what's true for your mother, and what's true for somebody else. I know of people who have walked out of doctors' offices and said, I want no part of this, thank you very much. And everyone clicked their tongues and said, oh, this person is a goner. And they show up 15 years later, absolute truth. You're probably the wrong person to be telling that to, but it's true. And they come back and they're fine. and other people where we tell them, look, you've got the best prognosis and all you have to do is this and you'll be fine. And within a year or 2 years, they're not. And there's everything else in the middle.
Okay.
And so that the only thing we can give you is working out of the experience of the large statistic. What I know, and I think my colleagues know, is that each cancer is absolutely different. Well, this is a completely clean breast. I think you should go to the radiation therapist and to a surgeon and talk to them without anything in your mind. You don't have to do anything, okay? I mean, you do know that. It's all your choice, really. And listen to what they have to say. And then make a decision. Right now, you've done beautifully. You've had your chemo. You've done as well as anybody could have dreamed. You'll know what to do. You knew about this. I mean, whoever thought you would do chemotherapy?
A year ago, I know.
I mean, if somebody told you you get the most toxic drugs and in some sense be happy for it, you never would have believed
Listen,
it.
we live in such an alternative community, and there were so many people who, oh no, you're not doing that, are you? Oh, and I really contradicted how a lot of people feel about conventional therapy too. And I've been out in the open.
You can do did you see the cover of Time magazine? Oh, it's all about alternative therapies.
Really?
Yeah. You'll be very interested. My husband brought it up. He said you might be interested.
Recent time? I mean, this week?
It's all about alternative therapies. But I don't think there's anything wrong with doing both. I mean, Bernie Siegel used to send me, I told you, send me lots of patients. And they'd come to me and they'd say, he said he would do, meditation, this and that, but he'd also have chemo because he's too chicken not to. So there is something for what is tried and true.
Right.
So I think that's basically it. You can still do all the alternative stuff. It doesn't preclude it and working on your immune system and your mind and everything else. But, nothing melts it as quick as chemo. And I don't think anybody can dispute that. Otherwise, they would have published studies showing that, crystals could do that. I'd use crystals.
I mean, I guess it's my feeling that it's your body and your choice, okay? I can make certain recommendations and tell you what the standard of care is in traditional surgery and medicine. But it's your choice, ultimately. And I don't feel like we have the right to push something down you, because I cannot say that what I do is going to cure you. I guess years ago, that's what they used to tell women.
Right.
And women just went along, too. So we've changed a bit. Softened up a lot. I think there is probably still some cancer left in there. The exact dimension of it, a little hard to say. Maybe out there.
There's a thickening right here. What Dr. Zimler said was that he would be surprised if there were any active cancer cells. He said that he would think that it would be a dead tumor. I don't know. Should I get dressed?
Yeah.
I felt an angel around me, and it's hard. I've never felt divine intervention, and I just feel that my body right now is clear of cancer. It's something that's really hard, and maybe it's a part of denial, I don't know, but it feels, there's this very spiritual thing going on.
That's what I needed to hear from you.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do another needle biopsy?
Do you think it would give any information? I wouldn't mind, no.
Okay, well, why don't we
Okay.
just have an idea?
Fine.
What we do when we do that kind of reconstruction is to put the tissues from another part of the body underneath some of the skin that's left behind on the chest wall. So she would take as much skin as she feels like she needs to with the mastectomy to remove the tumor.
Right.
And then the skin that would be left behind is still developmentally related to the breast. So
Right.
if a recurrence occurs, that's where it occurs.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
It does not occur in the reconstructed tissue.
Aha, okay.
Because that's tummy tissue. And you
Okay.
have breast cancer, not tummy cancer.
Right.
Okay, so it does not occur inside the reconstruction. It could conceivably occur deep to the reconstruction in the chest wall, but then you would have symptoms like pain and things, and would be able to diagnose it with bone scans and MRIs and those sorts of things. So it's not like, you know, the chest wall has to be watched.
Okay.
If there is a question of chest wall involvement, that's when the radiation part comes in as well.
Okay.
And the chest wall can be radiated through the reconstruction. The reconstruction then changes. However, it's going to, just like the natural tissues would change, because it is natural tissue. When you do the operation, what you do is to free up the donor tissue. You also free up one of the muscles with its blood vessel contained in it. You then tunnel underneath the skin surface and bring the tummy tissue up onto the chest wall and use it to reconstruct the breast.
I don't know how you do. I mean, I know that that's done, but it must be an amazing process.
Yeah, it is an amazing process. It's really neat, as a matter of fact. The body is it's just so wonderful to allow these kinds of things to be done. So the blood supply comes under like that, and then the skin and the fatty tissue comes out on the surface and is contoured to make the breast.
I'm getting gaggy looking at the red. Okay, think about the good.
We'll turn it into purple. Hold on.
That blue was
color.
beautiful. Purple is a good color. I think purple.
Ta-da.
Right to the breast, right to the breast. See, I didn't think about that the last time. Right to the breast.
I just want my body to be well. I just don't deserve it.
No, you don't. It's not fair.
You know, even though I feel in some ways I was chosen, I don't want to go through this. I felt in the beginning it was right. And I just feel the doctors have to do it because they don't know what else to do.
It might be good to remember that you did choose to do this with all its imperfections.
I know, but not these 2 cycles right here.
No.
But you're right. I did choose it, and I chose it for very good reasons. I wanted to live. Well, I've decided to go ahead with surgery in Boston, followed by a week's stay, or I hope no more than a week's stay in the hospital. I'll probably be in there over Christmas too. Surgery will involve a mastectomy. I'm not sure of the extent of the operation, but at the same time, reconstruction will take place. And I decided to go that way because I had explored all of the possible alternatives that could be available to me, and breast cancer is very serious. It is operable, and I do have confidence in the surgeons. It's a little funny to talk about, but I had this childhood fantasy of the Lone Ranger coming to visit me in the hospital and taking his mask off. And whenever I think about lying in the hospital bed, I think about the Lone Ranger visiting me and taking off his mask. She said it looked good, but that it looked like it was in situ and not invasive, which was very good.
Wow.
The cancer that they did find. A lot of the cancer was gone. And I think that's what she said. And the other thing is that they don't have the tests back yet on the lymph nodes.
Did they remove lymph nodes?
They were going to remove about 10 lymph nodes.
You need the mirror so she can see.
Shall I hold it?
God, there's another breast.
You bet. It's a good job, isn't it?
Amazing.
I like the little stars.
Yeah, I wonder if the stars could stay. I was just thinking that it just feels so much better than I had thought it would be. I thought that I'd look down and just burst into tears.
Mhm.
And the thing that I mean, I could burst into tears because of the appreciation I have for these surgeons.
Maybe you do so.
It's so different. It's so different from what we're accustomed to in the Berkshires. The cancer, or the first report was that the cancer had gone from being invasive to in situ. And then she told me, she came in, let's see, Monday night, Tuesday being the day I went home, and she said, Monday early in the evening, and she said, I have some good news for you. And I thought, she's going to say that I get to go home the day before Christmas. And she said, the cancer is mostly in situ. There is a little bit of invasive that we saw in one area. And she said there was no cancer found in your lymph nodes. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's so great.
Happy birthday to you.
That's beautiful, 6. Oh, really?
There's a 6 right there.
6.
That's great. Okay, we're gonna try to make a wish.
Who's 6?
That is so cute.
Daddy!
Oh.
Well, there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I make a wish?
Yeah, I can't eat with all this stuff.
It'll be moved, huh?
Oh, for a second.
Candles.
Yep.
She's going.
Do you know what hospital's closest to you for
Berkshire
radiation?
Medical Center. I've heard that the equipment is good there.
Okay. You will be a unique patient to them. I don't know if they've done any radiation on reconstruction.
Oh, so they.
But it will entirely depend on the radiotherapist, the
Okay.
doctor that's going to deliver it, and how comfortable he or she feels with it. Maybe he's done it somewhere else or not. But I think you should just call and go and see how comfortable you feel.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would mean living here for 6 weeks.
In 6 weeks that you want me to have it?
For 6 weeks.
And would that mean that I'd not have to have the chemotherapy?
No, the chemotherapy would be attacking any of the cells that had gotten out.
Right.
There is, and I'll talk to Dr. First about here, it's not, you are estrogen receptor positive.
Right.
We could just put you on tamoxifen.
And I'd be on that from now until
Probably
forever.
right until we find something better.
Yeah, those were good. The report's good on tamoxifen, right?
Yeah, it is, it is. The tamoxifen will give you more hot flashes, maybe. You don't lose your hair, you don't feel sick to your stomach.
Right. Okay. And tamoxifen instead of the other chemotherapy? Or in addition to? It's 6 of one.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. My preference is not to. But
And no one knows. But I don't want you to, 10 years from now, say, oh, what if I had done it?
because I did so well before with it and my system seems to be okay. How many more would you recommend if
You
I
had
did?
4?
Yes, 5.
5. Maybe 2 more.
With adriamycin.
each person is an individual. I'm not part of some product on a conveyor belt that needs to be stamped and sealed and dated. I'm Sheila. And for me, I know that the path I choose is going to be the one that's right for me, not the one that one doctor tells me to take. And the beauty about the doctors in Boston is that they recommend. They don't say you must do this or that. This is what we recommend.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you confused as to what to do? Are you gaining clarity?
I'm gaining clarity.
How do you feel?
I'm feeling stronger in myself. I also believe that to some extent, we can restore ourselves to good health or restore our immune systems. But I also believe that there's destiny involved too. I can do so much. And I think the rest of it's up to God.
I was just looking over the footage where you were having the first time I shot chemo, and you were talking about how then chemo felt for you like communion.
Right.
What has your body been saying now?
That I've had enough.
In the summer of 1991, my friend Sheila asked me to videotape her journey with breast cancer. Like Sheila, I had no idea what I was getting into. Sheila never went back to the doctors in Boston. She decided not to have more chemotherapy or radiation and focused more and more on alternative therapies, some legitimate, and to me, some quite dubious. She decided to stop our filming. She seemed determined to tell herself and her friends that she had beat the cancer. Slowly, the cancer spread. With a combination of love, will, and denial, Sheila endured great pain to stay alive with her daughters as long as she could. She died at home in September of 1993. In her best and worst moments, Sheila always believed her story would help others better understand the battle against breast cancer.
Rosy, pocket full of roses, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of roses, ashes, ashes, we all fall down.